Welcome. Today, 22nd February, we are in the fifth session of TCV Dictionary Compilation Workshop. This fifth session of the workshop for compilation of TCV Dictionary as such is going to be the final session of this phase of exposure for the exercise of compilation of TCV Dictionary. In this session, the focus is going to remain upon Sathapatya Mapdand and Sathapatya Merudand. Sathapatya Mapdand, as we know, is a synthetic setup of hypercubes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, the representative regular bodies of 1 to 6 space. And the Merudand is a spinal cord which is of 33 joints, and this value 33 is parallel to the split of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions, and the value 33 as such is of an organization availing the value 3 for its both places. Sathapatya Mapdand as such is a horizontal line and the Merudand is a vertical line. The Merudand as such will be taking us to the Kailash Parvat, while the same also in opposite orientation will taking us to Patal Lok. The formulations Sathapatya Mapdand lead us to TC value 22 plus 37, while Sathapatya Merudand takes us to value 22 plus 44. These values 59 to 66 give us a values range 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65 and 66. The formulation Kailash Parvat takes us to value 40, while Patal Lok takes us to value 33. It is here where the value 33 as such takes us to the spinal cord, takes us to the setup of a split of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions, and we know at the middle is a release of a creator space, a force space. Therefore, the Merudand with value 44 is going to be a transcendence phenomenon at the origin of a three-dimensional frame, and it is this progression, it is this transcendence upward through the spinal cord which is going to be the enlightenment phenomenon. The other enlightenment phenomenon, the first enlightenment phenomenon, is the enlightenment of Lord Brahma by meditation within the cavity of his own heart, and with the grace of the Transcendental Lord, the Lord Brahma multiplies as 10 Brahmas, and these 10 Brahmas as such lead us to value 40. So rising to Kailash Parvat is to move upward and to reach up till the creative boundary of a 5 space. It is this reach at the creative boundary of 10 components of hypercube 5 is parallel to a reach at a Kailash Parvat. And the transcendence within the spinal cord, when it is from upward to downward, it is reaching a patal lok, and this is the phenomenon of the sixth space of a Vishnu lok. So when the cavity, through the transcendental cavity of the creator's space, there happens to be a twofold process of rising upward as Lord Brahma reaching the Kailash Parvat, and transcending downward is reaching a patal lok. So when the Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, transcends downward, it couldn't reach at the bottom end, and when the Lord Brahma rises upward, it doesn't reach the Kailash Parvat. Which would mean that when there is a transcendence upward, with Lord Brahma multiplying as 10 Brahmas, leading to value 40 coordinates, it reaches at the most at the boundary of a 5 space. Therefore, reaching at the boundary of a 5 space would impliedly mean that 5 space as domain remains beyond a reach. Likewise, when there is a transcendence downward through the transcendental cavity within the heart of Lord Brahma himself, then here as well there is not going to be any reach at the bottom, as we know that pentagon, which is a printout of the 5 space. So pentagon as printout is not leading to, because the internal diagonals of the pentagon construct a inner pentagon, and none of the diagonals passes through the center, and this phenomenon is ad infinitum phenomenon. As such, let us see that there is a limitation of the processing in terms of Sathapatya Mapdand as well as by the Sathapatya Merudand. However, when both are simultaneously applied, then we can have a proper glimpse in terms of twofold framing. Firstly, as a enveloping boundary, a creative boundary, and then there is going to be a dimensional frame. So split of a 3-dimensional frame as order of 5 space and reach at the creative boundary together will help us have a glimpse of, and it is through this glimpse that we will be imbibing the transcendental values. As such, sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to glimpse and imbibe the transcendental values have to simultaneously apply Sathapatya Mapdand as well as the Sathapatya Merudand, and by simultaneous application of the Sathapatya Mapdand and Sathapatya Merudand, we can have exhaustive coverage from Kailash Parvat to the Patal Lok. And we know that Kailash Parvat to Patal Lok as such was fathomed, tried to reach by Ravana and Ahiramana. So Ravan and Ahiraman had reached Kailash Parvat and Patal Lok. However, they were not capable of imbibing the transcendental values. So the transcendental Lord Shiv was a phenomenon which could be glimpsed but could not be imbibed by Ravana and Ahiravana. The phenomenon of complete glimpsing and imbibing of the transcendental values is the phenomenon of a self-referral Lord Vishnu, and it is this phenomenon where the creation of the creator Lord Brahma himself is a transcendental phenomenon. Now it is here where we are stopping today, and from the next session we will be taking up further, but this take up is in the next phase of the compilation of TCV dictionary will be a take up of a reach for the Vedang Jyotish by the Ganita Sutras. Let us make a note that in the present phase of exposure and initiation for the compilation exercise of TCV dictionary is taking us only up till a value that Sathapatya Mapdand and Sathapatya Merudand both are to be simultaneously applied, and by simultaneously applying we will be glimpsing the transcendental domain. By having a glimpse of the extreme endpoints of Kailash Parvat and Patal Lok, and up till the Kailash Parvat there has been a reach of a Ravana, and up till the Patal Lok there has been a reach of a Ahiravana. Now it is only glimpsing, but if we want to imbibe the transcendental values, then we have to transcend further. We have to go self-referral, and for it we will be entering the next phase, and the next phase of compilation of TCV dictionary initiation exposure is going to be in terms of Ganita Sutra's approach to the Vedang Jyotish. Vedang Jyotish is a scripture of the Lagda Muni. Lagda Muni had Rigved Jyotish Vedang as well as Yajurved Jyotish Vedang. There are a pair of scriptures of Vedang Jyotish, Rigved and Yajurved, and Yajurved is the scripture of 44 shlokas. The Rigved Lagat Jyotish Vedang is a reach of Ganita Sutras, while Yajurved Lagda Vedang Jyotish is reach of a Ganit Upsutras. Therefore, from next session, rather next phase of series of sessions, we will be entering upon the further deeper exposure for the compilation of TCV dictionary, and it would be primarily in the foundations of Ganita Upsutras reach for Lagd Yajurved Vedang Jyotish. So we will be having a scripture with us. It is going to be a Lagd Yajurved Jyotish Vedang, and this scripture is a scripture of 44 shlokas. We know Ganita Sutras are 16, Upsutras are 13, so 16 plus 13 is 29, and plus 15 makes it 44. Now 13 Ganita Sutras as dimension will taking us to 15 as a domain, and 15 as a domain is going to be the gap value of the range of 16 sutras. Now we will be coming to these aspects, but for it we have to appreciate the TC values of Akshara 13, Shabd 17, Varan 18, which transits and transforms as 19, Mantra is 24, which transcends and transforms as 6, Richa 8, Sutra is 15, which transcends to 17, and Shloka is a 16. So these TCV values of these formulations as such will be coming into play, and for it we have to see that we have to firstly concentrate upon the Varan, Devanagari Varanmala, means these letters, 9 vowels, 25 Varga consonants, 4 Anthasta letters, 4 Ushmana letters, and 8 Yama letters. These are the individual letters, and these letters having their corresponding TCV values. The organization of these 42 letters other than Yama letters are in terms of 14 Maheshwara Sutras, and these Maheshwara Sutras are, in addition to these 42 letters, are having the Anubandhas. There are 14 sutras, so there are 14 Anubandhas, and out of these 18 Anubandhas we see that first sutra and sixth sutra are having the common Anubandha. So there are 13 distinct Anubandhas. As such, the Ganita Upsutras, 13 in number, are going to avail these 13 Anubandhas. These 13 Anubandhas of the Maheshwara Sutras are going to be availed as the foundations for the mathematical domains of 13 Ganita Upsutras. And these 13 Ganita Upsutras are going to be availed for organization of the knowledge of a Vedanga Jyotish. Here, when we will be exposing ourselves for proper initiation, for proper and appropriate enlightenment, then we shall be concentrating upon these 44 shlokas range scripture of Lagd Yajurved Vedanga Jyotish. For it, we have to revisit what we have been exposed during all these 5 sessions, including today's, and this exposure in fact is going to be an exposure of a Lord Shiva, the overlord of a transcendental domain 5 space, transiting and transforming as Ardhanareshwar, and this Ardhanareshwar organization leads us to a transcendental family of the Lord Shiva, Goddess Parvati, and Lord Ganesha, Lord Skanda, and Mansa Devi. This transcendental family is going to be the reach, and from this phase and stage onwards, there happens to be transition and transcendence from the transcendental domain to a self-referral domain of Lord Krishna. So, Lord Krishna and Radha as Gopal is going to be a transition and transformation, and this transition and transformation from the transcendental family to the self-referral family is going to be a bridging in terms of Hanuman, and we know the formulation Hanuman. This formulation Hanuman is the formulation which is of TCV value this 41 is the value, and this value is taking us from the Bindu Sarovar of soul syllable reaching up till the swastik pada. So it is this a fine flow which is going to be the flow in terms of which we know that when Ahiravan had taken Rama and Lakshmana both to the Patal Lok, then from here it was Hanuman who had brought back Rama and Lakshman by defeating Ahiravan, by removing one of the boundary components of the setup of Ahiravan. And see, Ahiravan is the formulation. This formulation takes us 1, 13, 21. Now, it is this reach which is being overpowered by Hanuman. So we have to appreciate this organization by having a self-referral base for our intelligence, and this transition and transformation amounts to that within the heart of Hanuman is a self-referral seat of Rama and Sita. We know the formulation Ram is having TC value 15, while the formulation Sita is having a value 13, taking us to value 28, which is the value of a Brahm. As such, within the heart of Hanuman is a self-referral seat. Let us recapitulate that within the heart of Lord Brahma is a transcendental seat of the transcendental Lord Shiva, and when Lord Brahma meditates within the cavity of his own heart, he acquires the transcendental grace, and as a result thereof Lord Brahma multiplies as 10 Brahmas. Now here the reach is going to be that there is going to be a self-referral seat within the heart of the transcendental incarnation, and from here we will have a reach to a Ram Darbar. Therefore, the sadhakas are fulfilled with the intensity of urge to acquire a appropriate insight for the appropriate enlightenment has to meditate within cavity of one's own heart, and then the transcendental cavity within the heart is to take us further to a self-referral domain. Therefore, in the next phase, we will be having a focus upon a transcendence through the transcendental cavity within the cavity of the heart itself. Therefore, it is this second phase transcendence which is going to be the focus of the next phase and stage of our sessions for compilation of a TCV dictionary. So when we will be reaching here, then we have to have a concentration upon a fire god. We know the fire god splits into a setup of 3 arms and 4 arms parallel to the setup of the split of a 3 space as of 7 geometries range. Further, the 3 arms setup takes up till the boundary, while the 4 arms takes up till the domain. Therefore, it is this split of the third element which takes us to Ref. We know all the letters are karas like Akar, and Ref is is the only letter, Ra is the only letter which is designated as a ref. And the formulation ref is having TC value 9 and 7. And it is parallel to the Eka Adhikain Purvain, the first Ganita Sutra. Eka Adhikain is a formulation of 9 letters, while Purvain is a formulation of 7 letters. Therefore, we will be now reaching a ref, and we know it is of 4 folds: value 1, value 2, value 3, and value 4. It is Dhritarashtra. It is, now we know that these 4-fold sequential values of a letter Ra, Anthastha. And further we know the Re, the fourth vowel, is having Ra in E, and Re is having La, Ra in E. Now these sequential values of unfolding within the self-referral domain are to be reached, and it ultimately will take us to a Sathapatya measuring rod of with the hypercube 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as 4-fold manifestation layers of values 2, 6, 10, 14, 18, 72, 72, which is going to be the second, it is going to be the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga. This way we see that the exercise of compilation of TCV dictionary is going to be a exercise for which one is to firstly provide the consciousness base for the intelligence field, and then the consciousness base itself is to be made self-referral. So in the first phase, our attempt has been that we shall provide a consciousness base for an intelligence. Now in the next phase, our exposure is going to be of the intensity for making the consciousness base of the intelligence to be a self-referral. Therefore, when we will be going to the Jyotish Vedanga, we know that Eka Adhikain is having first letter as a 6th vowel, and the Purvain is having first letter of value 5. Now the Vedanga Jyotish will be beginning with the first letter Pa. So Ganita Sutras begin with the first letter as a 6th vowel, while the Vedanga Jyotish is to begin with the first letter as a Pa. It would be Panch Sanmastar. Now this, starting with the vowel as a dimensional frame, and Vedanga starting with Pa as a 5 space in the role of providing an order. So it is going to be transcendental order, and here it is going to be a self-referral dimensional frame. So in the next session, when we will be entering the second phase of exposure and for acquisition of insight and enlightenment for compilation of a TCV dictionary, then we shall be taking shelter of Lagd Yajurved Vedanga Jyotish scripture of 44 shlokas. And we know that 5 space as origin of a 4 space splits a 4 space into a pair of 4 spaces, and it is of value 13, and when this is transcended out, we will be having a value 44, and we will be coming to a 10 place value system. As such, 10 place value system, 5 space domain, and the Yajurved, and we know the formulation Yajur is leading us to value 11. Now from 11 to 13 is going to be a reach from dimension to a domain. All these features are interconnected. It is an organization of values along geometric formats. Therefore, let us make ourselves specific that Vedic mathematics of Ganita Sutras is a mathematics of reach by chase of our solar universe on a geometric format of a Sathapatya measuring rod, Sathapatya Dand, while we will be processing horizontally, and along the Dand, while we will be processing vertically upwards. Therefore, the pair of axes, the horizontal axis from east to west and vertical axis from north to south. So this frame of Sathapatya Dand from east to west and Merudand from north to south is going to be the format in which we will be having an organization chase for the Lagd, Yajurved, Jyotish Vedang are 44 shlokas with the first letter being Pa of value 5 parallel to a 5-space domain, and from it we will be having comprehension of the existence phenomenon of our solar universe being parallel to the existence phenomenon within human body. Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, Yatha Brahmande Tatha Pinde is going to be the final reach point parallel to the pair of orientations for the sequential organization. Thank you very much.